3 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, in 2015, a white supremacist with a criminal record was allowed to purchase a gun, which he used to kill 9 parishioners at Mother Emanuel AME Church in Charleston, South Carolina. That shooter, who was prohibited under federal law from owning a gun, was able to purchase one because of a loophole that allows the sale of a gun to proceed if federal investigators do not complete a background check within 3 days. Through November of last year, there were more than 5,800 incidents where people who were legally prohibited, criminals, legally prohibited from purchasing a firearm, still obtained one because of this dangerous provision, which has come to be known as the Charleston loophole. H.R. 1446, the Enhanced Background Checks Act, closes the Charleston loophole. It strengthens background check procedures to ensure that federal investigators have enough time to complete background checks before a gun is transferred to the buyer. Common sense. But closing the Charleston loophole is not enough. Current federal law only requires a background check for the sale of guns from licensed gun dealers. Background checks work. Since the law was enacted, 3.5 million gun sales were denied, which means 3.5 million people who were prohibited under federal law because of a criminal record or some other disqualifying information were denied the right to buy a gun. They work. The problem is more than 20% of gun sales or gun transfers happen without a background check. And that's why H.R. 8, the Bipartisan Background Checks Act, requires background checks on all gun sales, including guns sold by unlicensed dealers online or at trade shows. Every day in this country, more than 100 people in the United States are killed with guns. Gun violence is an epidemic that threatens the public safety in communities all across America. We must not wait for another tragedy to strike. Requiring background checks on all gun sales is a common-sense gun violence prevention measure that serves as a first line of defense to keep guns out of the hands of dangerous people. I hope we can all agree that dangerous criminals should not be able to get a gun. And you know, there's been a lot of discussion today about the Second Amendment and gun rights, and we all respect that. But what about my constituents' right to live a life free from gun violence? To take a walk in a park, to go to a movie theater, to go to church and pray, and to be able to do so without the fear of being gunned down and killed. There is a competing interest here of public safety and protecting the security of people to live a life free from gun violence. I urge my colleagues to vote yes on H.R. 1446 and H.R. 8. Join us in supporting legislation supported by over 90% of the American people who have good common sense. Vote yes. Help end the scourge of gun violence in this country. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I yield back, and I thank the gentleman from New York.
The gentleman